Thank you for inviting me today to talk to people about how to prepare their pets for fireworks. This can be a really traumatic time for animals, all the loud bangs and whistles, not just the colours and the lights that they can see, and it can be really upsetting. So as owners, we need to do our best to try to prepare them. So one of the things that we can do that's really important indoors is to prepare a den for the dog or the cat actually to go into, so that they've got a place that they see as a refuge, somewhere that they can hide, somewhere where they feel safe. And so what we've done is set up this den. As you can see, it's got nice soft bedding at the bottom. It's got a duvet and several layers of blankets over the top. And what we have to do is teach the dog or the cat to use this as a nice place. We encourage the dogs to use the crate or go near the crate with things like activity toys, so that they're having a nice time when they're in the crate. We can also just throw some bits of normal dog food there. Encourage them to be around the crate and always leave the door open so that they feel they can go in and use it as a safe place, and then when they want to, they can come out again. We can do this for dogs, as you can see, but we can also do it for cats. Cats particularly like hiding places anyway, and they're quite keen on things like cardboard boxes that are lined with soft towels or blankets. Sometimes they quite like them to be turned on their side so that they feel that there's something over them. But giving cats the opportunity to choose a safe place is really important. They like certain things and we don't always know what they are, so the more choice we give them about where to go, where to hide, where to feel safe, the happier they're going to be. So if you don't have a big metal crate available to use, you can always use one of these smaller portable cloth crates. Sometimes people use them for travelling with their pet, and they can be secured with the seatbelt in the car. But they're also quite good for cats, and the big advantage that they have is that the sides are more solid, so that the cat feels even more enclosed and more secure. And cats particularly like to go into small spaces when they feel alarmed or frightened. So this kind of smaller pet carrier can be equally used for a small dog or a cat. The thing to remember in each case is that whatever size crate you use, your pet, your cat or your dog must be able to stand up and turn around inside the crate. You need to try to exercise the dog as much as you possibly can on that day. Longer walk than normal perhaps, maybe a walk with their doggy friends so that they have an opportunity to play and get really, really worn out. And then feed the dog probably earlier in the afternoon than you normally would, so that the dog has an opportunity to digest that meal and then go out to the toilet, hopefully before dark, or at least before the fireworks really start going off, because you don't really want to be in a situation where you're having to take the dog outside and the fireworks are going off, or they go off suddenly and unexpectedly. When the fireworks themselves are actually going off, the best way to distract your dog and help them to cope with the noises would be to close the curtains, to turn up the TV or the music centre that you have inside, so that there's quite a lot of noise indoors that masks the noises that are going off outside. The other thing that you can do to very easily entertain dogs is to provide them with activity feeding toys. These are a good idea anyway. They provide a lot of mental stimulation for dogs during the day. So we've got things like snuffle mats and brain game toys and chew toys and bones, which have got things like peanut butter and then ordinary dog kibble put inside. for them to actually interact with and get the food out of. Even if your cat is normally an outdoor cat, you need to keep him or her inside on the nights when you know that there will be a lot of fireworks. So you need to close up the cat flap, you need to get the cat in early in the day, again feed early in the afternoon, and then keep the cat inside. And when the dog or the cat actually is frightened, then it's absolutely fine for you to pat them and reassure them, especially if they come to you and seek your companionship and they want to be near you. You should let them do that, and it's fine to comfort them and reassure them, because we now know from more recent research that you can't make them more fearful than they already are. We're looking at really starting our preparation maybe 2 or 3 weeks in advance of the fireworks season, and getting the den ready, encouraging the dog or the cat to use the safe place that you've created. When we're interacting with our dogs when they are afraid in the fireworks season, when the fireworks are going off, it's fine, as I've said, to pat them and reassure them if they seek you out and they want comfort from you. But sometimes they bark or they scrabble at the doorway and they damage the carpet and jump up at windows and so on. It's really important that you don't tell them off for those sorts of behaviours, because they can't help it. They're not choosing to do it, they're only doing it because they're so frightened. So a better response from you is to do some training with the dog, some really simple things like asking the dog to sit or give you a paw or touch your hand. So some behaviours that are very easy for the dog to show, and the same principle applies to cats. That kind of thing, or giving the dog an interactive toy to engage with, is a much better thing to do than try to shout at it or try and get it to stop by being aggressive towards it, because all that you'll do is make an already fearful animal even more fearful. So before the fireworks season begins, in terms of preparation, you will already know that it is a legal requirement to microchip your dog, but if that has not been done, then microchipping your pet before the fireworks season is absolutely essential, because if it were to get out and be lost, then obviously a microchip's really going to help you to get your pet back and to be reunited with your pet. So even if you've got an older dog, you can still help to teach the dog that the sounds of fireworks aren't as frightening as they might imagine that they are. And what we call that process is desensitisation. So what we're trying to do is teach the animal to learn to ignore something that could be potentially frightening. But when you're doing that, you have to be really careful not to play the sounds of the fireworks too loud. And because if you do, you can frighten the dog in a way that you didn't mean to. So my advice in terms of using any of the online resources available which provides fireworks sounds would be to put that onto your phone and play it very quietly in the background, perhaps out on a walk, so that if there is any problem with the volume that you're using, or the dog does become sensitised, at least it's still sensitised outside of the house, because you really want the home to be a very safe refuge, and obviously the den within it to be a very safe refuge for the animal when all these very loud noises potentially are going off on bonfire night or New Year's Eve or whenever it is.